Hello, recorder players. Let's get our brains and our fingers warmed up, and then we'll look at some new music. Listen first, sing second, play third. Let's sing it. 1, 2, ready, here we go. G, D, G, A, B. Now let's play it. Here we go. Please remember we've got a C that we're going to use in our next little pattern here. It's our second finger, not our first finger, plus our thumb on the back. Let's try it together. 1, 2, singing finger. Here we go. C, C, G, A, B. Let's play it. 1, 2, ready, big breath. Pretty good. Listen one more pattern and then we'll get learning new stuff. Okay, 1, 2, ready, singing finger. B, A, B, A, G. Now let's play it. Here we go. Now, some of you might have figured out that I was playing patterns that come from I've Been Working on the Railroad, which is on the last page of your packet. But before we look at the music, I'd like to learn a new thing about our rhythm. So on the board here, I have our old friend, the quarter note. So the quarter note, in normal times, right, it gets one steady beat. Here it is, lovely. So we see it and we know it and we say, quarter note. 1. Perfect. Let's move on. Well, sometimes we need to add a little bit to our quarter note friend so that he is actually worth a little bit more. So let me introduce you to our friend, the dot. So what happens is that this little dot lives next to the quarter note. And what the dot is, do you remember how much the quarter note was worth? It's worth 1 steady beat. The dot says we're going to add half of the value of the note. So what's half of 1? A half, right? So if we say, okay, we're going to add a half. So what's 1 plus a half? Well, 1.5, right? Yes, 1.5. So we say, all right, cool. We're going to have 1.5 steady beats. Perfect. Let's keep going. Well, sometimes kids have a little bit of a hard time figuring out how to count this rhythm because they forget that if you have 1.5, oh dear, you need to get the half from somewhere. So, for example, if I have a Kit Kat bar, and it has, you know, as they often do, 2 halves, right? And if I say unto you, I eat a Kit Kat and a half, please remember that I'm going to need to buy another Kit Kat bar, right? So here I am, I'm going to eat only half of that Kit Kat bar. Maybe I'll give the other half to a friend and not be quite so gluttonous here. But it means that I'd actually need 2 Kit Kat bars in order to make that work. So I'm going to count 1 and 2. That's how I'm counting this situation. So if I was counting this lovely note, I've got 1 and 2. So you'll see in your music that we have this thing that looks like this. Or it's upside down. Either way, so the stem's on the other side, but it's the same idea where we have this note with a little flaggy bit on it. That little flag tells us that it's an eighth note that's all by itself. So it by itself is only worth half a steady beat. So this is the person I shared my other Kit Kat half with, right? So here we have 1 and 2. This is all one lovely sound. And is the next little bit. So if I'm counting this, I'm going to clear out my Kit Kats, but if I'm counting this all together, I'm going to count this rhythm 1 and 2 and. So if I'm counting and clapping, I'm going to clap on beat 1 and I'm going to clap on the and of 2. So let's try that together a couple of times. Now I know that you know the song I've been working on the railroad, so I will warn you right away that you could cheat and just say, I know the song, I've been working on the railroad. No problem, Miss Monk, I don't need to count it at all. I say unto you, but then how will you read it when you see it again? Let's practice. Let's count this lovely rhythm together. Count and clap, please. So clap on beat 1, and then on the and. Why? Because that's where the new sound starts. 1, 2, and ready, here we go, and 1 and 2 and. Let's do it one more time and then we'll add the rest of the measure. 1, 2, ready, here we go, 1 and 2 and. If you look at the rest of that measure, we've got eighth notes, right? I'm looking at the very first measure of our song. We have eighth notes, and they're kind of more eighth notes like we're used to seeing them. We have 4 note heads, and we have little sticks that come down like this. Yes, all is good. And we have them all connected. Is that allowable? Of course it is. Eighth notes can be in sets of 2 and sets of 4. And they can also be all by themselves sometimes in special situations, right? So I'm going to count 3 and 4 and if I was clapping this, I would clap on every single one of those. Why? Because that's where the new sound comes. Okay, let's count and clap this rhythm together, and then we'll look at the notes that go with them right here. 1, 2, and ready, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it one more time for solidity, and then we'll look at the notes. Ready? Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yes? I hope so. If not, pause the video, go back and review. Let's look at that very first measure. We already know the notes because we did them in the warm-up, but take a second to read them and then we'll try it together. Let's sing it and finger it first, and then we'll play it. First measure only. 1, 2, and ready, here we go. G, D, G, D, G, A. Just that much, right? Let's do it one more time, singing and fingering. Ready? Here we go. G, D, G, D, G, A. Now let's play it, and here we go. All right, now friends, the second measure looks pretty simple now because we've got half notes, right? Ta, ta. Let's add that right in. 1, 2, ready? First 2 measures. Cheat just a little bit, and I'll look ahead to notice that the second line starts out almost the same way. Is it exactly the same? No, it's not, because in the second measure of the second line, we've got new notes. That's having to do with the word rhythm, right? But what that tells me is that I already pretty much practiced the first half of the second line. Bonus! So let's look at this first half of the second line. Measure 1 and 2 of the second line. We're skipping ahead a little bit. All I'm noticing there is we've got, in the second measure, B, G, B, B. Let's do that together. Second measure of the second line. 1, 2, second measure, second line. B, G, B, B. Now let's play just that one measure. 1, 2, ready, here we go. Now let's go back and play measure 1 and 2 of the second line. 1, 2, second line, first 2 measures. Okay. Now friends, if you are having trouble getting from the G down to the D still, pause the video and double check that all your fingers are covering all the holes really well before you move on. Let's go back to the first line. Okay, I see that we have another dotted rhythm this time in the third measure. So I'm going to count and clap that rhythm first to make sure I've got it really clean. I'm looking at the first line, third measure, all the live long. 1, 2, count and clap. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Right? Because I've got 2 quarter notes. It starts out the same as our lovely on the board measure, but it changes just a little bit at the end because we only have 2 quarter notes, right? So I could say like that. thusly. So we would count it like that. Let's do it one more time together, counting and clapping. 1, 2, count and clap. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's sing and finger the third measure of the first line. 1, 2, sing it. 1, 2, sing and finger. Here we go. C, C, G, A. Now let's play it, and here we go. To finish off that line, all we need to add is a dotted half note. A dotted half note on a B. We already talked about him, but let's review what a dot does. So if I have a dotted half note, a half note is worth how many steady beats? 2. Right, so we have a 2 steady beat note, and we're going to add a dot. The dot is going to add half. What's half of 2? 1. Right, so 2 plus 1 would be 3. Oh, see, music math is the best. It's all the easy answers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a rest on beat 4. Don't forget the rest on beat 4, please. Let's play measures 3 and 4 on the first line. 1, 2, ready? Here we go. Now we are ready to play the entire first line. If you are not yet, though, pause the video. Go back and practice and then rejoin us. Here we go. First line. 1, 2, ready? Here we go. All right, and we already said that the first half of the second line, wait a minute, it's the same as the first line, and we already practiced it. So let's look at measures 3 and 4 on the second line there. Okay, good news, friends. It's quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have a dotted half note one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like before. Let's go ahead and sing and finger it first, and then we'll play it. Measures 3 and 4 of line 2. 1, 2, sing and finger, here we go. B, A, B, A. Now let's play it. Measures 3 and 4 of line 2. 1, 2, please play it. Here we go. Now we are ready to play line 1 and line 2. Let's try it. If you have trouble, please remember to stop, look, listen, and then jump back in as soon as you're ready. From the beginning. 1, 2, ready? Here we go. All right, friends, next time we'll look at the rest of the song, but for right now, keep playing, keep practicing, and if you have any questions, send me a message and I'll be happy to help you. God bless you.